Today I'm going to show you how you can make Naju style Korean beef soup using one chunk of brisket and some simple aromatic vegetables. So you may have heard of this Korean beef soup called seolleongtang before. And the main difference between seolleongtang and today's Najugomtang is that seolleongtang primarily uses bones to get the broth, but Najugomtang uses primarily meat only. Sometimes you add a little bit of bones as well, but mostly meat. Visually, the main difference is that seolleongtang is white and Najugomtang, it has kind of brownish color. Today I'm going to be using about 1.2 kilograms of beef brisket and some aromatic vegetables. So I have about 10 cloves of garlic, 2 slices of ginger, some peppercorn, and some spring onions. First of all, this chunk of meat is a little bit big for my stock pot, so I'm just gonna cut it in half. I'll probably trim some of the excessive fat off. It doesn't have to be perfect. I mean, you can remove more fat later on once it's cooked. Yeah, this is good enough. So once you have these kind of meat trimmed up, I'm gonna put it in a stock pot with some water. The stock pot here with some water, and I'm just gonna put it in there. I'm just gonna leave it in there for about 2 hours to get some blood out from the meat. So it's been about 2 hours, and as you can see, the water kind of became red, obviously, and the meat is kind of bleached. Yeah. So once you're at this stage, I'm just gonna pour everything out, and just fill it with water, just enough to get everything submerged. And then I'm gonna boil for about 10 minutes to get any impurities and any remaining blood out. Now it just started to boil, and you can already see, right? There is these impurities, those bubbles. So I'm gonna leave it to boil for another 5 to 10 minutes. So after boiling for 5 to 10 minutes, I'm just gonna pour this out. I don't know if you can see it, but there's still some of those scums stuck in the pot, right? So I'm gonna just wash them off, and also washing off the meat as well. So when the meat and the pot is relatively clean, fill the stock pot with water again and add these aromatic vegetables. All you need to do is just boil it for about 1 hour. Okay, an hour later. All I need to do now is separate the meat to cool. So separate the meat to cool and strain the broth. Okay, the soup is basically done. You actually don't need to season anything at this point, because when you serve, the individual is gonna salt and pepper to taste, so you don't need to do anything. But if you want to add extra flavor, you can use some of this. This is basically a Korean beef stock powder, or some of this. This is MSG, but it's up to you. I usually like to add a little bit for every serving, like a pinch of dashida or a little bit of MSG, but it's up to you. Okay, now I have my soup ready like this for one serving. My meat ready and cooled down. So what I'm gonna do now is just to show you how you can prepare it and serve it. So I'm gonna cut this meat thinly, but one thing to remember is that, can you see that grain there? Going along horizontally. I'm just gonna cut against the grains, so like this. Yeah? Like cut it about 1 millimeter thick. See how it cuts very easily and evenly as well. If this meat was still hot, when I try to cut it, it will just break apart. That's why it's important to cool it down, like fully cool it down in the fridge. I mean, some of them are a little bit thicker, but it doesn't really matter that much, to be honest. Okay, I think this is enough for one serving. Once you finish cutting, just put them into soup. And what I'm gonna do is just gonna heat it up. While that's heating up, let's cut some spring onions to garnish. And I'm gonna make a dipping sauce that I always make whenever I cook this dish. And to make that dipping sauce, you need quite a bit of spring onions. Chop this up. Probably need a little bit more. Once you get your spring onions ready, fill the bowl. And I'm just gonna use this rest of spring onions later. I'll add it at the end, just before serving. Once you get this ready, I'm gonna add some soy sauce. This is Korean soy sauce, 2 tablespoons. and some vinegar. Not apple vinegar or other vinegar, just white vinegar, plain white vinegar is fine. I'm just gonna add 1. So 2 soy sauce, 1 vinegar. And then next is just gonna add some sesame oil. Maybe like half a tablespoon is okay. Or you can add more if you want. Maybe I'll just add a little bit more. And then some Korean chili powder or chili flake, whatever. If you don't have this, I mean, you can skip it, I guess, but it's good to have. Maybe I'm just gonna add 2/3 of tablespoon in there. And lastly, roasted sesame seed. This is completely optional. If you don't have it, you don't need it. And once you're done, just mix them together. And when you're making this dipping sauce, probably best if you just leave it for like, I don't know, 10 minutes before serving, because these spring onions, they're gonna spit out lots of juice, so it will make the sauce a lot tastier. I can actually put more spring onion if I wanted to. So that's done. Started to boil. Okay, I'm gonna get some rice in there. You can serve the rice separately, but these kind of Korean soup dishes, I just like to serve the rice with the soup. And then add the soup. I mean, you can pour everything in, but you know, just for the sake of YouTube and the thumbnails and stuff, I'm just gonna decorate it a little bit nicely. Okay, that looks pretty good. Spring onions. I mean, you can add like a lot more than this. I'm just gonna add about this much. And salt, pepper. So I'm gonna give this to my brother, so he's gonna add salt and pepper to his taste. So I'm just gonna put it here somewhere. And yeah, that's it. Naju style gomtang, Naju style Korean beef soup. And obviously with some kimchi. Every Korean soup dish has to be served with kimchi. By the way, if you want to know how to make nice homemade kimchi, I have some videos on my channel already. So check it out. You should be able to see somewhere up here somewhere, whichever, I don't know. And that sauce that we made, and the salt, pepper. So let's serve this to my brother for his breakfast. 야, 밥 먹어라. 소금 후추 알아서 넣어서 먹어. My brother's fed, so let's try for myself. What I like to do is get some of these meat and this sauce, right? Just get these spring onions. Just wrap it. So good. Well, you can certainly like dip it like this, or you can even do like this. Get some rice and meat together and grab some of that spring onion on top. Need a little bit more salt. I actually forgot to add salt. The whole point of this soup is just enjoy the full beefy flavor rather than, adding all these spices. And other thing you can do is that in restaurants which sells these kind of Naju style gomtang, they sell these meat separately. You basically cut it like this thinly, then you just serve it separately. And you serve it with some kind of dipping sauce like this or whatever dipping sauce they have. And that's like a dish separate to the soup. And usually they're quite expensive. Anyways, I'm gonna finish my meal, but if you found this video useful or somewhat informative, please like and give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing as well. Thank you for watching and have fun cooking. See you next time. Bye.